Hey everybody, and welcome to Tightline Fishing Television. Really excited. Today is our first episode of season 4. And we're down at Lake Eufaula with one of my good friends, Ken Bush. And we're going to be fishing around the time of the spawn. Some of the fish we caught we thought were spawning. Some of the fish may have been pre-spawned, and some of them may have actually already spawned and were coming off the bed. But we had a great day on the water. We're glad that you're with us. So thanks for being here. Up in that real shallow grass. I had to work really hard for him.
You reckon that's a male?
I think probably so. Probably be a nice start to the day anyway.
Absolutely.
So welcome to Tightline, and what we're doing, me and my good friend Ken are here on Lake Eufaula about mid-March. And man, it's been a weird year in Georgia. Had a lot of rain, a lot of high muddy water. It's finally just coming down where we can fish. So we're out in some real shallow water fishing around some grass. Throwing a college crawl, a swim worm, a chatterbait, just trying to cover some water and see where they are. So it's a nice pound and a quarter, pound and a half male. We're gonna throw up in there and see if the female's here. But we're glad you guys are with us. Stick with us. So we've been swimming some little crawfish bait, a college crawl, and we couldn't get bit shallow. We really thought they were gonna be real shallow, and the wind got up a little bit, so we moved out kind of just on this very first break. I lost a really nice one, 5-pounder. This is a good one too. Just on a chatterbait. Pretty little. It's hard to tell yet if they're pre or post spawn, but clearly that one's tail's a little bit torn up. And I'm catching them on a chatterbait, about a 2-pounder. And this new Big Bite Baits trailer, it's called a swim on. They're made specifically for a bladed swim jig. And this one happens to be green pumpkin. I dyed that tail orange because orange seems to be a big deal down here now. A couple weeks ago you'd throw orange everything, but it's a little clearer now, so that's what I'm throwing. Your turn, man.
Let's do it.
You can kind of see what we're fishing here. It's sparse grass, pad stems, pads. That one happened to be in some pads. There's gator grass here. You about get a horticulture degree coming out here to fish, but we had some friends that have been here and caught them real shallow, and we fished for about an hour shallow. I had one and lost one, but they didn't seem to be in there. So we're still shallow, but we're sitting on a break out in about 6-8 foot of water, throwing up shallower and see if these fish have moved out or maybe just moved in. We're trying to catch them coming both ways. Good fish right there.
Mm-hmm.
So man, next 2 casts later, I got another one. It's a nice fish too.
Mm-hmm.
This fish, if I can get him in the boat, I'm gonna show you too. And clearly, that fish has already spawned. But man, that was fun right there. Look at that, Ken.
Oh yeah, nice one.
Now I say that, can y'all see that? It's kind of gross. When it looks like they're peeing on your TTing, they're still on the bed. So this is a male, and to catch a 3 1/4 pound male, you know, 2 3/4, whatever he is, that's a big old male. So they may be spawning up here. They like being near that deeper water.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that was fun. He hit it about 3 feet from the boat. Ken got him one.
Yeah, a little one. He was right on
there, brother.
He was right on the bank, Royce. Like
On
you
a,
said,
what are you
just
throwing
kinda
there?
brought
Just
it
like
right
a
up.
creature bait?
I'm throwing a brush hog.
Okay. Look here, this fish, I missed one. It got me in a log. But look at the bed right here. There's 3 of them.
Little one. This is number 1 for me though. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
sometimes when it's like this, you just fish. You know, you don't know if they're pre or post. That's easier for me to say. Pre or post spawn. They could be anywhere. So the best thing you can do, if you don't find them in a specific place, is just cover water and kind of move fast. That's kind of what we're doing.
Trying to figure them out. Yep. Got another little one, Royce. A little small one.
So Ken's throwing this kind of creature bait up around just shallow stuff and getting a bite or 2 here and there. You reckon that's a male probably?
I think so. It's his tail's torn up on the top there.
Show them
Look
that tail. When you see tails on fish like that kind of worn,
they're worn out.
they're either getting ready to go on the bed, or healing up, coming off of it. So, good job, man.
Got to find the mama.
I think I see a light spot over here. I'm gonna see if
They
I
should
can.
start to get some bites. I don't know what we're gonna do with these little ones, Royce.
So Ken's waxing me on little ones today.
Got a sore on them.
Putting a little crawl imitation on there, but look, what may be the key today as much as the orange. I'm throwing green punk with orange, and he is too. We're different kinds of baits, but that orange in spring, orange or red in spring, can be a really good color.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Royce, if the chatterbait's not getting the bigger bite than this
Kind
little
of what
Texas
it
rig.
seems, isn't it?
Yeah,
Now he was just kind of out there, wasn't he?
it's kind of out from it, yeah.
It seems like, you know, it's kind of been hard to pattern much today. They've kind of been scattered, but one of the keys has seemed to be orange, and so we're using Spike It Dip and Glow. I've got it in a dip here, and you just dip your claws or the tail or whatever you're using in this orange. Orange is most of the time I'm using chartreuse if you watch what we do, but early, mid-spring, man, I'm always got some orange with me, and usually tends to work really good. So again, the pattern's kind of no pattern.
Yeah.
We're just kind of still trying to figure them out a little bit. Ken and I both probably had this same fish bite us and missed him. He came and got mine on top and his underneath. That fish is probably on a bed. You think? Look at that, it just came out.
Tail's clean.
Yeah, tail's
Yeah.
clean. But that may be the male.
Yeah.
But I threw a college craw up in there with, guess what? Orange claws. That's a nice one.
I think we've got the color dialed in. We just got to
And
figure out the rest of it.
And I think the pattern probably is just cover a lot of water, don't you think?
Right now, yeah.
And you just kind of got to adjust by the day. Like we said, we really thought today was going to be crazy fast bite, you know, but it seems to be a little bit slower. And what is kind of key is they're shallow, but we got to have a little bit of depth next to us. That's where we're catching.
Yeah, definitely. I've got it down on these little ones, Royce.
Hey, I'd rather get a bunch of them than nothing, wouldn't you?
Got it figured out on these. Yeah, I'll take this.
So Ken's day has all of a sudden become the experimental bait day, right?
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
Same color, but I noticed you're throwing a little different worm now, aren't you?
Trying to get a bigger bite, yeah. I was switch it up a little bit. And I think we've got the color dialed in. We just got to figure out what the chatterbait is probably getting the best bite right now.
Yeah, and he's throwing green pumpkin, dyeing the tail orange, just a,
Yep.
is that a swim worm or just
It is. He bit my tail off.
Bit your tail off.
Yep.
And tell us kind of what your tackle setup is there.
Yeah, I'm just throwing like a little small bullet weight on it.
Is that about like an 1/8 ounce?
About an 1/8 ounce or so. Probably about a 3/0 wide gap hook on it, 12-pound line. Got a medium heavy fast rod with a fast tip on it. Just, yeah.
It's important when you're fishing as shallow as we are not to overpower them like that little 1/8 ounce. Most people don't think about throwing an 1/8 ounce, but you don't need much to keep it on the bottom. You want it to look natural. So if you can throw an 8, that's the best thing to throw. Years talk a lot about being opportunistic, man. Me and Ken saw one chase bait, and I didn't think I'd ever make that cast. But I did. Oh, look at the color of that fish, Ken.
Oh, he is dark.
Called a smallmouth.
Wow.
He's a pretty fish, but we saw him run bait up there on the point. It's kind of, we got back in some wind. He's not very big, but he's pretty.
Very dark.
I guess that fish has been up there around that grass. It's giving him that color, but he's real pretty, kind of turquoise. My friend that fishes with me some would call that a largemouth small body bass. Grow up, brother. Pretty good fish, man. That came off that gator grass that time.
Yeah.
Lost him.
Oh, did you?
So here's the deal. I don't know what there's fish today. We've lost several. That one kind of balled up on my hook, but I think some of these fish may actually be on beds and they're not hitting it real good. Typically on this bait, you don't lose fish, but that was a 2.5 pounder. I've lost one back there and I lost a 5 pounder earlier. So we may try to do something a little different if we keep losing fish. And this, I got 20-pound line on here too, but we're fishing a lot of pad stems. I noticed I got a little bit nicked up, so I'm gonna retie real quick. So we've been fishing a couple of hours and hadn't caught any. And Ken and I had one stretch of bank where we got several bites. And so we decided to come back here because we fished it pretty fast. Felt like there's probably some more fish here. We hadn't fished 20 yards, I caught one. He's not a big one, but he's a fish.
Getting bit
and again, it's green pumpkin.
There you go.
Look how fat he is. Green pumpkin with a dyed the claws orange on a college crawl. I thought that might be a spotted bass, but it's not. It's a little keeper, about 13 inches. Me and you both seen days we want one of them in a tournament.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we're gonna let him go do his thing. Now what Ken's doing, it's a great thing to do, is just this time of year, a soft plastic stick bait with no weight and just let it flutter down there. And a lot of times when fish are getting ready to go on the bed or on the bed, that's a great way to catch them.
Yep.
So we're gonna keep going and see if we can pick up a few more.
Give it a try.
The big ones now. Hold them real close to the camera, man.
Sorry, dude.
What would Jim call that? We got a friend named Jim. He called him what?
He was half a sandwich.
Little chip.
Little chip, half a sandwich.
So Ken, it's been, gosh, a couple, 3 years since we did a show together.
Yep.
We finally recovered from that one and asked you again. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right?
But you know, a lot of life has happened since then, 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
One of the things we've been reading on Facebook and talking to you about is you're a granddad now.
Yep.
Why don't you tell our friends about what that's like being a granddad?
I tell you, it's awesome, Royce. It's been quite an experience, and everything you hear about grandchildren is true.
Yeah.
They're really special. Tell you one thing, it's really a blessing to watch them grow and come up as they have good Christian parents.
Yeah.
Son and my daughter-in-law are doing a great job raising them and getting them involved. And of course, they're still very young, but they read the Bible stories to them, and they're bringing them up the right way, and we're very proud of that.
That's
so
awesome.
it's kind of the way they were raised.
I was gonna say, and that speaks to you and your wife too, and you know, it encourages our viewers, you know, when you read the Bible and it says, train up a child in the way they should go and they won't depart from it. You know, if you brought your son up and he's bringing his kids up, that's the kind of heritage we want to leave, you know.
Absolutely, we're very proud of them.
And they live a pretty good ways. Oh, I got a fish.
Uh-oh, okay.
Pretty good one.
A little better too, yeah.
All we had to do is start talking about Jesus.
Right on cue, I know. Good job.
So yeah, what we decided to do on the fishing end is we got several bites, and don't be scared to do that sometimes in an area where you know there's probably more fish coming in. We fished pretty quick through here. What we did was came back and slowed down, and we've already had 3 fish, I think, in this little about 40-yard stretch, and none of them are giants, but man, we're getting bites now. We're gonna look a few places after this and try to go get us a big one.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago we were trying to make a decision whether to come back here or not, and you know, we followed the bites, right? So
that's right.
We haven't really got into the size we want yet, but they're here. We just got to figure them out. Come back and start getting bit.
Moved to a new area and we were fishing these stems like we've been fishing, but back here in some real calm water, Ken and I are seeing some fish whirling around, which we can't see the beds, but typically that's a pretty good sign there's a couple fish on the bed back here. We're gonna see if we can't catch one of them at least, maybe both, maybe 2 or 3. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if you can see what we're in. Kim had to get out and push us out of here.
I know.
We kept seeing these fish whirl up there, and I had one on and it got me stuck. And this is the 10-pounder we saw swimming around up there. They'll fool you sometime. But anyway, it's kind of cool when you see some places like this middle spring and you see fish whirling, even though you can't see the bed, there's probably a fish up there somewhere. I'm hoping maybe there's 1 or 2 more up in here we can see. Ken and I have been catching them on what we call, it's lily pads is what it is, but it's before the pads have come to the top, so you got stems. It's a great place to catch pre-spawn fish. But we were coming by this little backwater area, you know, this little 1/4 acre pond kind of area. And it's calm back here and protected. We could see some fish whirling, and clearly they weren't carp. And so we came in here. It's real hard to get in. We're kind of stuck right now. But yeah, you want to be close enough where you can pitch into them. And if you can't see the bed, that's probably better. Because if you can't see it, they can't see you. And so we're looking for fish now. We just caught another one. I lost one in the grass. And we're seeing one right up here. We're going to try to catch a couple more before we get out of here. If you've never been to Lake Eufaula before, it's kind of world famous for being a big bass lake. And because it is a big bass lake, really any time of the year, particularly the spring, most people throw big bass baits. They throw big jigs, they throw chatterbaits, spinner baits, big worms and stuff like that, trying to get a big bite. And that's not a bad idea. It actually is a really good idea to throw those things to try to get a big bite. But we decided to do something a little bit different, and here's why. When so many people fish an area, and they had for several weeks fished these shallow grass flats that we were fishing, those fish become accustomed to those big baits. And so what Ken and I decided to do, and we threw big baits a little bit, but by and large, most of the fish that we caught, we downsized. We went to a little small bait. We went to a big bite college crawl. We threw some green pumpkin and some in a tilapia color, and we went to light line, and we were just slow reeling those little crawls. And a lot of times when that happens, when you're in a lake that's had a lot of fishing pressure, if you'll downsize, if you'll do something just a little bit different, you can get more bites, and you can also get big bites doing that. I've seen a lot of tournaments won that way. Guys go out and fish a certain way, and the guy that wins or the guys that finish in the top 10, they're fishing either a little bit differently than everybody, or they're fishing a lot differently than everybody, and that'll get you a lot more bites, particularly in a crowded area and an overpopulated place where people fish a lot. You know, the Bible teaches us that we're kind of supposed to live that way. we're supposed to live a little differently than the world. Actually, we're supposed to live a lot differently than the world. You see, there's a whole world out there that's going one direction, and the Bible teaches us that we're supposed to kind of go a different direction than that. Matthew 7:13 and 14 says this, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and few find it." You see, Christ wants our lives to look different than the lives of the world. It really all boils down to Christ's followers are supposed to think of others in front of themselves. You see, the world in general is a selfish place. They're going to think of me first, me first, me first. But Christ, we're supposed to follow His example, being humble and thinking of others above ourselves. And when we're not like the world, when we're different from the world, here's the advantage that that gives us. It tells us in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it tells us this, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good and pleasing and perfect will." So the advantage to me of living different than the world and kind of transforming my mind from the world is I'm going to be able to know how God wants me to live my life. And then the result of that is when I live differently than this world, people are going to start to notice, and they're going to start to ask me why I'm different. And I can tell them because of a relationship with Jesus Christ. And it gives me an opportunity to share Him with others. And maybe you're watching this today and maybe you're in that group. You're looking at other people's lives and going, man, how do they handle it when things go bad? Or how are they patient when somebody cuts them off in traffic or in a bass tournament? And the reason we're able to do that is through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And if you don't have that, really it's simple. The Bible tells us that everybody sins, and that sin causes us to be separated from God. But the way to have a relationship with Him is to ask Him to come into your heart and be Lord of your life. Romans 10:9 says, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord, believe in your heart God raised Him from the dead, you'll be saved. And you can do that right there today, sitting in front of your television set. Hey, thanks so much for listening today. Glad you were with us. Please join us next time. Hey guys, what we do at Go Fish Ministries is share the gospel and encourage believers in their walk with Christ. We do this through a variety of events such as wild game dinners, kids camps, men's events, music events, or even if you or someone you know just needs a day on the water. Go Fish Ministries wants to point you toward Jesus and help you know Him better. Contact us through our website. We'd love to serve you any way we can. God bless you and go fish.
You know, when I look at the tournaments I've won, probably 4 or 5 of the boats that I've won have been on a tube. But I'd completely gotten away from flipping a tube because nobody made one soft enough.
Big Bite has come with this new tour series of baits. The thing that's probably the most unique is when you look at that bait, the salt just rolls out of it. And to me, that is the reason a fish bites a tube and hangs on to it. This isn't one of those let's go out and catch some smallmouth tube. This is a let's get it done tube.
So we moved to a little different area. Still haven't figured out the big fish bite. But me and Ken have both said, man, I'd rather be catching a bunch of little ones than none at all.
I'll take this today.
And so this grass, the grass is the key today. Clearly they're spawning around it. Some of them are out here on the front edge, you know, getting ready. Some of them are right in the middle of it. Now, where was that fish, Ken?
I threw it up on the grass, and when I pulled it out, he bumped it, and then he jumped on it. So he was right up pretty close to that grass.
There's a fish right there. What we're doing, you can look, we've got a grass line, and then there's an inside, a little opening, and then what we call the hard wall, that thick grass up there. And we're seeing some fish whirling around. Y'all probably just saw me catch one in a place like that. Yeah, you hit almost. He was a little bit to the left of there.
Was it?
So we're kind of looking for them to whirl around in there and give their identity away, their location, sorry, not their identity.
Yeah, it is.
Not a bad one. So we've caught so many non-bass today.
We don't know what they feel like.
Ken catches a nice one and says it's not a bass. So what you throwing there now?
Anyway, I'll throw that little crawl again.
Little college crawl?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a nice fat chunky one. Looks like he probably hadn't spawned yet, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, tail's clean.
Yep.
Yeah.
So really, what we're doing is just basic springtime fishing. We're looking for areas where these fish are gonna spawn, and then we're really just backing up a very little bit, and they're kind of just right on the edge. Some were actually in there spawning. Some of these little backwater places we call them, but most of them are out on edges. They've either already spawned and moving out, or they're moving in, and we're just fishing real slow. For some reason today, we thought we'd catch them on moving baits all day with the cloud cover and everything, but
just hadn't happened.
You got to go what they give you, don't you?
That's right.
I mean, you know he's in there on a bed the way he was out.
Gotta be.
Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Yep, I got it.
Good deal. Hey, you hit him right in the head.
Yep. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was. I mean, you hit him right in the head.
So we stopped in this little backwater area. I threw my crawl up there and I was running it on top. Dude came up there and ate it, didn't he, Ken?
Yeah, he did.
So actually the bite's picking up a little bit with the day today. A lot of times that'll happen in the springtime too. Again, not any giants, but solid keepers. And you can kind of see this crawl is what we're fishing with. Got it right on the side of the mouth, and that tail tells you he's either been spanning a bit, or he still is, or in the middle of it. I'm gonna let him get bigger. Thank you, Lord. So we came to a little different area, kind of a backwater, a little bit clearer water. We've had several bites and not caught them. We kind of figured out why.
Yeah.
But the good news is, healthy population of all kinds at Lake Eufaula.
That's our future.
That's right, he'll be a 10-pounder, I don't know, 6 years.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Good job, man. So, came in here by this pump. Kim got him a good one on the college crawl. You want me to help you?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Come here, brother. Nice. So that's a green pumpkin college crawl. That's the fish we've been looking for all day. Probably a 5 pounder.
Yeah, easy.
Nice one.
Yeah, nice one.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us this week. I had a great day with my buddy Ken. Hey, and if you like the show, please go and find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and give us a like. It really helps us out. Hey, thanks so much for being with us, and join us next time.